mind. Let me know when this thing is up. Let me know when this thing is up. I think we're going. I think we're live. Chat, speak to me. Speak to me, chat room. Let me know, because I've been streaming on my other channel, and I'm really hoping that I'm not streaming on my gaming channel right now. Let me take a look here.
No.
Oh yeah, we're fucking live. Alright, what's going on, guys? It's the second episode of the Whang stream, and I still have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. If you haven't been seeing me a lot the past couple of weeks, it's because I've been streaming a lot on my gaming channel on my Twitch. Friday the 13th came out, and fucking hooked on that game. And I also realized that even though this started as a gaming channel, I kind of shifted more towards rants and news and social issues and stuff, and a lot of people who came here have no interest in gaming at all. But if you do, I have the subscription link to the new gaming channel in the description of this, so go check that out. But anyway, we got some topics today. Oh, and I actually left Kathy Griffin up here before I started the stream, but that's fine because we can get started with her. Yo, alright. I love the Kathy Griffin situation so fucking much because I feel in a lot of ways it flipped the script on the political correctness debate. Because, it's, even though the idea of political correctness can go right way or can go to left way, but in general, it seems like the concept of political correctness, it's something that's used by the right against the left, because nowadays it's always the left saying, you can't say this, that's offensive, you can't say that, that's offensive. And when I was growing up, it was the other way, where you had these Christian conservatives who were saying what you can and can't say. And what I have respected about Kathy Griffin, even though I don't find her funny at all, she is a liberal comic who is many times, along with Bill Maher, spoken out against the concept of political correctness, and now she has become the victim of it. In a way, like, even though a lot of people, I know I have a lot of, like, conservative-leaning followers who could be like, what the fuck, man, that's fucked up what she did, with the decapitated Donald Trump. It's very offensive. It's very offensive, and I find that fucking funny, because I see a lot of people who, they don't like it when other people are offended by humor, things like that, even though, like, once again, I didn't find this fucking funny at all. I thought it was just, like, a stupid, attention-grabbing gesture. I mean, that's basically what it is, even though it didn't work out. CNN dropped her. This is a good beer. I love this beer. Now because people were so offended by this thing, she put out a fake apology, which, how I feel about fake apologies. I just had the whole Chris Pratt thing last week. And this is the same thing. Like, you're not really fucking sorry about something that you put so much planning into. You had a professional photographer, you had very realistic props for what it's worth. I mean, I'm sure, like, if you wiped that blood away, it wouldn't be such a realistic prop, but, it was convincing enough that it upset Barron Trump. But what I think is funny about that, though, even though Kathy Griffin has spoken out against political correctness and things like that, she's still, I feel like, very much part of an ecosystem where if you say anything that upsets absolutely anybody, that's the worst thing in the fucking world. And now let's come back to bite her in the fucking ass. And hopefully a lot more comedians, especially like liberal comedians, there are a lot of liberal comedians now who I feel like they're starting to feel the effect of this. It would be great for everybody all across the political spectrum if people became more aware and resistance towards that. I know Louis C.K. is another guy. Like, Louis C.K. is also a very left-leaning, fucking hilarious comic. One of the best comics out right now. And I've started to see think pieces, like, hammering Louis C.K. about his white privilege and things like that. And you can't play this game because the people who get upset by these things, they will never be happy. You give them an inch and they want an elbow. And now Kathy Griffin has seen this, Louis C.K. has seen this, and I see in the chat, if it was GWB's head, I probably would have chuckled a bit, I don't know. It's one of those things, like, and it's going to be a theme on this particular stream a lot, that humor is subjective. There's a lot of things that I don't find funny, but at the same time, you know, when you don't find something like this funny, people think it's because you're offended by it, and sometimes it's just like, nah, it's not fucking funny to me. You know, I also don't think Kevin Hart is fucking funny. I don't think Dane Cook is fucking funny, but, you know, they make a lot of money because a lot of people do find them funny, so subjective. But then what I see on the other side too now is the conservative outrage over this. Well, a person's asking, is it ever okay to joke about killing the president? I'm the kind of person who thinks that there's nothing that it's not okay to joke about. I mean, the more serious it is, the more funny I think it has to be to get the pass. But I don't think any topic is ever off limits. As long as it's not specifically threatening the life of president, which I don't think this is, I think it's all game. And we're going to get to that with, like, the fucking Manchester thing, too, because I saw a lot of heated opposing views on that. But what was ironic to me, I saw a lot of conservative people now, like, who are all of a sudden, they're offended by things. This is like, oh, you can't do this. This is very offensive. After years of it, and like in a way that I agree a lot of the time, hammering people who are complaining about being offended by things. Like, the way I see it, if you're going to draw a line somewhere, you can draw a line somewhere and say, hey, I'm offended by this. I feel like if you're going to do that, because at the end of the day, it's arbitrary from person to person. If you're going to draw that line and say, oh, this is what it's okay to joke about, this is what it's not okay to joke about, you can't then turn around and if someone else draws their line, someone else complain about it. It's either some things are offensive or everything's okay. Like, you can't have it both ways. At least, I don't think you can have it both ways in a way that's intellectually consistent. And now the Manchester thing. I saw that with the Manchester thing, too. There was that one dude that he made some kind of a couple of shitty jokes about it, and he got fucking hammered. He got, like, exiled from the internet and all of his jobs that he claimed to have. I think some of those jobs he didn't even actually hold, but, you know, there was a big public outrage. If you're on here, you've probably seen it before. I forgot, the guy's name escapes me, but it's not even that important. This is what people are saying. People are going to forget about it in a fucking week. I just remember that it happened. I don't remember his actual name. But, you know, they were just painfully unfunny jokes. I saw a lot of people, once again, who are all of a sudden, like, after years of complaining about political correctness, and oh, everybody's so offended by everything, all of a sudden, they're offended about something. And I also didn't like the jokes, but it wasn't because I found them offensive. I thought they were just trite, unfunny hack jokes. Stupid fucking puns, like, oh, yeah, she had a really explosive set, real fucking knee slapper, right? Like, it's offensive in how unfunny it is. Like, if someone made an actual funny joke about the situation, which honestly I haven't seen yet, it's not because the kind of person is like, oh, that's the kind of thing you don't joke about. It's never funny. It's just I didn't see the execution of a punchline relating to Manchester done in a way that actually made me laugh. The good point, Thuggy. I might recognize that guy's name if I saw it, but I have a feeling we're not going to be seeing this guy's name for a long time. He was one of those guys that was... There's an idea that there's no such thing as bad publicity, but bad publicity is good publicity if you leverage it right, and I feel like that guy just allowed it to destroy him. Like, he fucking doubled down, then he tried to play stupid, and it just didn't work out for him. Yeah, exactly. Like, if it's not funny, it's just uncalled for. Good point, Mr. Shadow. And then people say, well, like, oh, well, like, what if you were the person who was being made fun of in such a tragedy? And honestly, like, this is something I've thought about a lot. Like, people who know me, I feel like... Oh, yeah, there's another one, Psycho Beans. Ariana Grande's concert was a blast. And he made some kind of other joke about a grande Starbucks coffee, which apparently, he made the same joke, like, 4 times over the course of, like, 4 years, and I guess that was the time it, had some kind of impact on the world. But once again, a fucking another hack fucking joke. And here's the thing, too, like, I feel like that Steve Harvey video I made several months ago now, where he made some kind of joke about Asians and white women or whatever the hell. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I put this thing on the thumbnail, if you remember the video. It's Steve Harvey's face, and it has racist plastered across it. And honestly, that thumbnail, that was just clickbait. I'm gonna be dead ass with you, it was fucking clickbait. But at the same time, for anyone who actually watched the video, my point wasn't that, oh, this is such an offensive joke that he made. It was, alright, for those of you who, like, didn't see the video, the joke that Steve Harvey made was, someone made a stupid book about how to date Asian, how to get a white woman to like an Asian man for an Asian man. It was a really stupid book, but he's reading it and then he says, "Here, you only need one page. Do you like me? No. Oh, do you date Asian men? No." That was the joke, and Steve Harvey is not a fucking funny dude. I'm not offended by the joke, but what bothered me about it was that there's such a double standard where, like, a black dude could, like, make a joke like that about an Asian guy, but if you had an Asian comic make, like, some kind of other trite hack stereotype joke, like about stealing or some shit like that, and an Asian guy did that about a black comic, like, that would be the end of his fucking career. But Steve Harvey persists in his fucking unfunniness. And the funny thing about that, too, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of, like, going off on so many diversions now, but the funny thing is, that was the day before Steve Harvey met up with Donald Trump. So now the day after that, all of a sudden people are finding this video again, which was before Steve Harvey became a friend of Trump. So now people are coming on this thing calling me a fucking libtard all of a sudden, even though the day before I had people loving me for people with the same political ideology loving me for flipping the script on Steve Harvey, you know, but that's what it is. I feel like people don't really believe in things. They pick a team and then they go with whatever their team wants to do. Yeah, there definitely was, like, a bandwagony aspect. Like, it's very... I've seen a few, like, funny jokes about Trump, but for the most part, it's just low-hanging fruit. Well, fruit. I guess it's a good-ass beer, but no, it's low-hanging fruit to, like, just make a Trump joke, because it's one of those things where if you don't act like it's the most hilarious thing in the world, people think you're, like, some, like, hardcore, like, alt-right Trump guy all of a sudden because you didn't find a shitty, not funny joke funny. Which, actually, that leads very well into the next fucking topic. Motherfucking Covfefe. Like, this, I kind of missed the genesis of this fucking meme because I was streaming Friday the 13th last night, but then I saw my boy Hector posting about it being, like, the fastest he's ever seen a joke get killed. Like, pretty much, if you don't know it, here's the tweet down there. Despite the constant negative press, Covfefe, which it's a typo. Like, he was clearly starting a tweet and then didn't finish it, and he had a typo at the end. It was probably some kind of autocorrect weird fuckery. I don't know. It almost looks like, in some way you look at it, like someone wrestled the phone away from him as it was happening, but it was left up for hours. And usually it'll get deleted very quickly, but then this gave rise to, like, one of the most unfunny fucking memes I have ever seen in my entire fucking life. Like, pretty much, here's the format of this meme now that you get. You take any line ever, and you stick the word Covfefe in it somewhere. Like, fucking least that, but fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious. So, of course, and Psycho Bean is actually, Psycho Bean is right where I was about to go. Those fucking people in his mentions, the fucking attention whoring verified users, I think I have the card in there where you can watch the video I made about these people. They take their time to, like, be like, oh yes, I gotta fucking, this is my chance for glory to make my Covfefe joke. And you have the top one, let me find. Exactly, when normies try to create a meme, thank you. It's like that fucking cracking one open with the boys meme that's going on right now. Like, it was funny for, like an hour, and then everyone killed the fuck out of it. Now it's just fucking cracking a dead meme out with my fucking normies. Here's a good-ass gold one, though. Oh, alright. So we got the Covfefe. And we got this dude. Actually, before I even get into this, do you remember that William Legate motherfucker? I need to find this picture now before I even get into it, because that William Legate guy, who actually found my video and was like, "Oh, you're just jealous that you're not verified," blah 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 blah. He's gone. Like, he had a whole fucking thing going. People were bothering his family, and then his family was like, "Listen, we don't agree with him. Leave us the fuck alone." Oh, I need to Google William Legate and nipples, because that's what happened. Like, somebody found. I'm gonna pull it up. This is why I need like a guy in here, like no, not a guy, like some like a hot girl walking around who can like bring up images for me on here, like Joe Rogan has when he needs something pulled up. But basically, somebody found the picture of this guy on the beach, and they just kept photoshopping his nipples bigger and bigger, and that basically became like the last image of this dude that we saw. But he, I don't know if Twitter deleted him. Like, this guy was the king of being in Trump's mentions and just over and over, like, doing the replying to himself to kind of get boosted. Yeah, look at those fucking pepperonis. Yeah, I'm jealous that I'm not verified. Fuck you, guy. You're done. He's trying to sell t-shirts, too, as his fucking thing was falling apart. But he's not the last dude of these, even though I think Trump started blocking these people, which honestly I don't even care about, like, the political aspect of it. Like I said, there's even one guy who was talking about the oncoming problems we're gonna have with automation and things like that, and that's a really big problem that people do need to talk about, and it's kind of just getting pushed to the side. But regardless, it's one of those things. Once again, it's not really about believing in something. It's about pushing your brand on Twitter in a way that cheats the algorithm. So you have this guy making his fucking Covfefe rant. "Oh my god, you dumb drunk idiot. Didn't they say your lawyers were handling all your tweets now? We're minutes away from 'I'm not fat, I'm not lonely' tweets, aren't we? 13 minutes and tweet is still up. Are you barricaded in your room with several bags of McDonald's and self-loading?" Oh man, this guy, like, he's so fucking proud of these try-hard jokes. That's what bothers me about it. I don't care that he's making fun of Trump, because honestly, a lot of times Trump makes it very fucking easy to make fun of him. But this guy is trying so hard, and he's so aggressively unfucking funny. Are we in the third act of The Aviator? Reference, guys. You have pop culture references. Guy's a fucking genius. We got a regular Dennis Miller / which was the guy from Sam Jones is here. You're awake. You missed Kathy Griffin, Sam Jones, unfortunately. We are in the third act of The Aviator, which was the guy from that fucking Seth Rogen movie that they said he has the best reference. I'm the worst at fucking pulling up lines from movies. But did you fall asleep on the toilet again? This is the first good thing you've done since being in office. At what point are you going to accidentally tweet a Pornhub link with golden showers? 28 minutes later, and this has gotten serious. When are they sending in some FBI guys? Ugh. And that guy was like the top. And once again, I guess it's one of those things where, like the Kevin Hart / Dane Cook situation, where I just don't find it funny, but clearly there's some people who are amused by it. He's got like thousands of likes and retweets on that rant. Although, once again, I think it's one of those things where just because he said anything bad about Trump, or even like remotely trying to be funny, people have to act like it's the most hilarious thing, or they're not being a good team player. There were, however, now that I've gone past my hatred of this shitty Covfefe meme, there are two interesting things that popped up to me. The first one is going to be an extremist. Extremist says he thought these guys are shills and bots. I don't think they're paid shills or bots. I think they're just self-promoters, and I don't think there's bots. I think they've just found a way to game Twitter's algorithm. And what I'm going to show you actually is two guys who actually demonstrate that point in a way that I think was the only actual funny thing to come out of the Covfefe thing. These two guys. And this was replied to Trump's follow-up tweet where he was like, "Oh yeah, why don't you guys figure out what Covfefe means?" You know, just kind of like a silly tweet, but of course that becomes like a big problem too. Also Sean Spicer's fucking response was really stupid, where he's talking about how like, "Oh, this is a thing. It wasn't an accident. It's a thing that only a small group of people understand. I don't know. Sean Spicer, to me, like, I would feel that Trump, of all fucking presidents, would have picked a person for that job that was more charismatic, well-spoken, and had a better ability to think on their feet. But I don't care what your political ideology is. I just don't think Sean Spicer is competent at his job. Maybe he's a very smart guy. I don't really know that much about him. But from what I've seen in his role, he's just not good at it. But anyhow, exactly fucking Mr. Shadow shitpost on Twitter, profit, and that William Legate guy was selling t-shirts, and he probably sold quite a few of them, so. And here I am on my stream, so maybe I should adopt the William Legate model. Patrick Strickland. Stop it, Donald. Thanks for saying this, Patrick Strickland. Somebody had to say it, Shafiq Mandai. Exactly, as I said in my first response, glad you said it, Patrick Strickland. Thanks, Shafiq Mandai, and thank you for all you do. I'm glad you were replying to real Donald Trump's tweets. Thank you, Patrick Strickland. Tongue-tied. Thanks, Patrick Strickland. I heard on the internet that if two verified people start a conversation in his replies, it shows higher up. That is an interesting theory. I suppose we are testing it out now. I hope for positive results. Until then, we can speak with real Donald Trump. It only works for the first 8 replies, though, so I think we're cool now. I'm sending you a DM about Xbox. Like, these guys, I almost feel like that interaction there, it almost made my video about the verified tweet repliers. It almost invalidated because they expressed the same fucking idea with 8 tweets that I did in like a 10-minute long video. But it's fucking ridiculous. And there's one other thing. Actually, wait, I'm seeing something going on in the chat. Did somebody say Al was going to be the special guest? So Owlgirl has still been MIA. I know some of you guys were also fans of Owlgirl, who I stream with. At some point, I saw her streaming again, and it disappeared. So, I don't know. She moved, got a better setup, I heard, but she's been MIA still. I don't know what's going on with her. I don't really know her that well. I just, at some point, we realized that, like, hey, like, we have similar channels, we kind of like a vaguely similar sense of humor, let's stream together. And that's still the last video on her channel, I think. What up, Ray? Oh yeah, a pizza, that giant, oh damn, you got a fucking really ass long name, dude. But yeah, it's a whole cycle of validation. To some extent, yeah, but I also think there's like business involved. There's always money involved when it comes to those kinds of things. But yeah, it sucks for Galgirl too, because like the algorithm, YouTube's algorithm was fucking loving her. Like whatever the fuck she did, she got like 1,000 subscribers in like a month, which unless you have some kind of big following outside of YouTube, like The Rock could do something like that. Well, obviously The Rock would do more. H3 was complaining about The Rock's popularity. That's kind of unheard of for a newish channel. But and Extremist is asking about this beer. This is the Weihenstephaner Kristall Weissbier. It's German brewery, one of my favorite breweries. I never had this particular one. They usually have my favorite one is either the regular Hefeweizen or the Vitus. But this one I'd never had before. It's actually a really good flavor. I need to try the Vitus again, but this one might actually be my favorite one now because it's very weedy. I like weedy beers, and it's not as sweet as the Vitus. Oh, what's going on, Benji? Psycho Bean, does she have nice titties? She does, but you know, like the way YouTube's algorithm works, it's just not enough nowadays. Like people will click on it, but you have to like kind of stick through the whole thing to kind of get sorted in there. Like there's a lot of women on YouTube with nice tits who don't get the same love from YouTube's algorithm. So she stumbled onto something that I don't know. Yeah, Ray Ruckus, The Rock can do no wrong. I'm not even mad that he was a Tooth Fairy. I feel like if The Rock were to run, I feel like he would win, and I have no idea what The Rock thinks about politics, but I might have to vote for him just so like we can say that we had 2 WWE Hall of Famers as president in a row. Like, to me, like that, I am willing to let the country burn to the fucking ground so that we can have the whole thing run by wrestling. That's how I am. Oh man, like, and now we're gonna go on to like a totally unlisted topic. Psycho Bean. Anybody remember Reply Girls? You know, I kind of like, I wish that I was around in the Reply Girl era, because I feel like even like not being a Reply Girl, like replies were such a good implementation of they were such a good way to get exposure for smaller channels, where if someone makes a video, you can reply with a relevant video. I mean, the thing about the Reply Girls was they would have these they would find popular videos and just reply and have a thumbnail of like their tits and everything, and just have a totally shitty, irrelevant video. But a lot of them made a lot of money because they had exploited YouTube's algorithm in that way. Now there's a lot of dudes on Twitter, like, I watch guys like Ricky Berwick, Leon Lush, Bunty King. They do reply videos a lot to people like Keemstar and whatnot. Keemstar was actually complaining about it. Now those guys, though, I find those guys interesting. Like, they're actually good entertainers. Now I'm starting to see that there's a lot of people coming up now who I guess they saw that it worked for those guys, so they're trying their hand at reply videos. So I forgot some of their names. I'm gonna have to like drop some of their. I'm gonna have to like go back into Twitter and like figure out who some of these people are. I followed them recently, just kind of, was in a watching a fucking train collision kind of way. But they'll just reply with like the most irrelevant, not interesting videos that have nothing to do with fucking anything. They got no fucking personality, nothing relevant to say, but they just want their reply video in fucking everything. I think actually what compounded that problem too, one of those YouTube how to grow your channel gurus, I think it might have been Roberto Blake actually. In some recent video, he was talking about how you can like reply to people on Twitter with videos and it gets their attention more, and it does, but if it's something, like actually quality, actually relevant, that something that would merit doing a video of as opposed to simply typing it, Let me just check what we got going on in the chat. Carolyn would vote for The Rock, the Tenshi Reinhardt. Oh, what's up, dude? No love for tits. YouTube is a harsh mistress. It's not that it has no love for tits, like, tits will always like give you a bonus. Like, having good tits is like a perk in a video game. Like, it just like it adds like a little advantage. But there's so many good tits out there now that it's just like it's not enough. It's not enough. Good tits are a dime a dozen nowadays. Oh, Benji, and he's asking me trivia now. Do you remember the first scripted YouTuber? Similar to McJuggernaut, she would talk about how she's excited about going somewhere. Are you talking about Lonely Girl? I forgot the name. I forgot the year she had or anything, but it was Lonely Girl something. I remember that. Oh man, the rompers. Oh, you know what's fucking funny too? Like, last week, or like maybe it was like 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when I did my last stream. I was talking about how like nobody looks good in rompers. And then I met this girl, and I like looked through her fucking Instagram, and I'm like, I see her in a romper. I'm like, damn, she's like bad as fuck in the romper. Like, I gotta walk back my claim that nobody looks good in rompers now. She fucking killed it. Yes, Lonely Girl, I was right. Oh, it was Lonely Girl 15. Chloe got it. Alright. Oh, now that we got to, Oh, wait, before we even get off the Lonely Girl topic, I never finished the series, but actually something I've been thinking about now, I want to make some kind of a fictional YouTube content, because I realize, like, videos like this, it's kind of, like, fun. I'm enjoying it more than I'm doing the streams, and I got you guys here with me, but, when I make my videos, as much as I like them, and as much as people like those videos, I feel like, you can get on here and you can say what you think about things, and people are like, yeah, right on, or no, fuck you, you're stupid. But if you can communicate an idea effectively through fiction, I feel like you have a better chance of really reaching somebody. So I'm working on either doing a a comedy, like maybe like a sketch comedy kind of thing. Like I've actually been reading up on formats for sketch comedy, like how to do that correctly, or maybe even like a horror anthology. Like I'm a big horror guy. I know, like I'm sure a lot of you guys know that I'm a big fucking horror guy, and you know, obviously I don't have the fucking budget for kind of that kind of thing, but it might be fun to just make some shitty like 10-15 minute horror shorts for YouTube. But you know, that's all going down in the future. Wait, I exposed myself on stream. What did I... Oh. Oh yeah, I was talking about... I don't care. If that girl was watching, though, she definitely knows I'm talking about her. I don't think she's watching, though. Oh yeah, of course Lonely Girl was intended to be a mystery series from the beginning. But it was... What I really love about that period of the internet, actually, that was that... Even though, like, I would watch Lonely Girl and I'd be like, this is kind of, like... Even back then, I had a sense, like, it felt kind of cringy to me. But it did something where it blended the line between reality and fiction. So people would debate whether or not this is a real thing or if this girl is like really just going through this experience. Like it's kind of... I grew up on wrestling. So there's always... Something I love about wrestling has always been that thing where there's a line in wrestling where you don't sometimes know what's real and what's fake. Because everybody knows that wrestling is scripted. But, you know, then sometimes people will have backstage drama. They'll put things out to the dirt sheets that are rumors. But then sometimes it's fake stuff that they want you to think is real. Like, I feel like recently they've gotten better at also blurring that line between reality and fiction again. But in the early internet, stuff like that could get so much traction. I mean, fucking Blair Witch Project. Like, Blair Witch Project would never fucking work right now. And even wasn't a huge... Controversial opinion, I wasn't a huge fan of the Blair Witch Project. But like, people like really thought it was a real thing, and it was that made, even though like the movie itself was kind of whatever, the whole experience around the Blair Witch Project, like that was the content in itself. Oh, thanks for complimenting my music. I don't know if all of you guys know this, but I am in a band called Jinx. I have the link to that band in my profile page. Let's see. I should make this chat bigger so I can actually read it from my OBS screen. There we go. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Yes, I really loved horror anthologies, actually. What was it? Creepshow 1 and 2. Oh my god, I fucking love Creepshow 1 and 2 so much. The Wrath there. Alright, there was, do you guys remember the first, I think it was the first Creepshow, the first story about the guy with the cake? There, like, when he comes back as a zombie with the fucking cake, like, I couldn't watch that fucking movie as a kid because it freaked me out so much just the way he looked. And actually, alright, have you guys ever read Scary Stories? Those, like, books, they are horror movies for kids. They changed the art a few years ago, and the new artist, he's very good, but Stephen Gammell, the original artist on the Scary Stories books, that artwork is just some of the creepiest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Like, he has this way of, like, everything looks drippy, and just... It's realistic in an unrealistic way. There's this one where it was a story about a woman who was killed by her fiance or something, and the finger bone sticks to his finger to kind of like indict him as having killed her somehow to like lead to the dead body. But I never finished, for years and years and years, I never finished that story because you would open up the book, you would start reading the story, and then you get to the second page, and you have the story on this side, and a big, massive, creepy drawing of this face with, like, hollowed-out eye sockets and, like, melting away lips. I couldn't fucking look at it, because it looks like it's staring into your fucking soul, even with no fucking eyes. It's just looking back at you. And the new Scary Stories books, rather... Like I said, like I'm not gonna shit on the artist that did it because it's just a dude doing a job, and he didn't capture the same atmosphere, but he's still quite clearly a very, very talented artist. But losing that artwork definitely takes something away from the books. And I also actually think I think they're making a movie of that. I might be mistaken, but I think I heard a movie about that. Oh my god, the Wrath from Creepshow 2. That's another one of my favorites. That one actually, it made me scared to be around water. Because I'm in New York, so there's always like this dirty water everywhere. You go to fucking Jones Beach or whatever the fuck, Howard Beach. Not Howard Beach. Is there a beach on Howard Beach? I'll go to Howard Beach. You go to like Jones Beach or Rockaway or something. You'll find like dead jellyfish all over the fucking place. Just get a fucking dead horseshoe crabs, seagulls fighting over fucking crab guts, but it's just filth. It's filth. So you don't ever know if any of that filth is just like a blob-like creature that's gonna consume you. I actually miss that a lot too. Just like the idea of a horror movie fucking with your life. Like there's also The Gate. Oh shit, Benji, thank you, dog. Super chatted me. That's the first time I ever received a super chat. Just the way a horror movie might like fuck with your life. Like, have any of you guys watched The Gate? The Gate, that was weird because that was a kid's horror movie, but that one fucked me up. Especially the dead guy in the wall. That one had a story about how like there's a dead guy living in the fucking wall, or rather a guy died building the house and they buried him in the wall. And then there's a part where like anytime they're near the wall, the guy like reaches out and tries to fucking grab them. And that movie made me afraid to be near a wall. And at some point people might be like, oh well, that's it's because horror movies just aren't as good now. But I think a big component of that too is just like we're fucking old now. Like when you're a kid, your imagination is more open to these kinds of possibilities, and in turn that scares the shit out of you. I finished this one. I got another one though. And Guillermo del Toro, that's actually a great fucking choice to direct scary stories. I trust him to do a good job with it. And I think someone else said ABCs of Horror. That's another one. I enjoyed that one a lot, even though, the quality was inconsistent between story to story. It was very well done, I think. There are definitely a few standouts, even though, right now I can't remember any of them in particular. They Live. Holy shit, yes, I fucking love They Live. That one, like I said, I'm like a big wrestling fan, so I had to watch that because it was Roddy Piper hosting. I'm not hosting. Roddy Piper in a fucking horror movie, so of course I watched that. And that 8-minute long fight scene, it was exhausting to watch, but it was what I like about They Live. Well, let me say what's kind of funny about They Live. It's one of those movies where it's it has really good social commentary, but at the same time now people have kind of latched on to that social commentary, and it's kind of like 1984. I saw a great satirical article about the book 1984 yesterday. It was from The Hard Times, which if you guys don't read The Hard Times, you've got to read The Hard Times, especially if you're into the metal or hardcore scenes or any kind of alternative kind of scene. But the satirical article was America is turning into what I'm pretty sure 1984 is about. And it's basically the perspective of a guy who's never actually read 1984, but he's just assumes it lines up with his exact political ideology. It's good stuff. I'm not gonna kill the joke of the article by trying to paraphrase it, but it's definitely worth looking into. But I kind of get that a bit with They Live. And I do kind of I wouldn't go so I think a lot of people will take They Live and make it some kind of Illuminati analogy or something, and I don't think it goes that deep. There's definitely people in this world who have more power that they can kind of manipulate things to go in their own way, and they don't really care about other people. But I don't think it's any kind of magical behind the scenes, they're melting candle wax on each other's nipples doing rituals. I don't think it goes that deep. I think it's just they have power, they act in a selfish way to maintain their power, and we can see it plainly all around us in a lot of ways. And that's also not a condemnation of all rich people. I mean, you can look at people like fucking Bill Gates is the best example because as much money as he's had, he's also done so much uh, good for the world. Like now he's working on making better batteries, which if you've read anything about um, free renewable energy, like one of the biggest things that's keeping us from having renewable energy and decreasing our dependence on foreign oil is that battery technology really hasn't improved that much in decades. Like solar power, like if we had better batteries, solar power would be viable for like the entire country, for the entire fucking world. But you get all the power you need, but then if you don't have the batteries to back it up, it's all gone. And that's kind of the situation we're in now. Like you have solar glass, solar paints. Like better batteries are the things is what's keeping us from really implementing that in all the right way. And now what I got here is, I think this is the newest one, the Weihenstephan Festbier. Let me get caught up with the chat now. First time, come on. Yeah, I like the way you think, Benji. Big Trouble in Little China, that's a great one. I'm gonna be a film geek Charlotte and say I've not watched Fortress yet. T is for Toilet. I didn't watch T is for Toilet. Or rather, I don't remember that one. Was that from the second one? Because I remember I definitely watched the first one. I didn't watch the second one. Yeah, exactly, Ray. Like They Live is all about that system. Like it didn't. People take it very literally, I think. Like the people with like the lizard people conspiracies and stuff, they're very literal about that world of They Live. But I guess I don't know how to say it. Like I already did say it, but take it as an allegory and not a literal like these are fucking aliens running the world. The Thing, that's another fucking classic. Have you ever seen the original Thing? Like, I didn't even know till like maybe like 10, 15 years ago that The Thing was kind of a remake. Also Kurt Russell. Lots of Kurt Russell love in here. What did you guys think of Death Proof? Because I don't know, like now, like I'm going way off topic, but Death Proof to me, it's such an underappreciated movie. Like I didn't even like it the first time I saw it. But then when I saw it on its own, because I saw Death Proof in the theater with Grindhouse when it was Planet Terror and Death Proof together. And Planet Terror was such like an adrenaline rush, like there's action, gore, left and right. It just didn't give up. And then you go into Death Proof, which is like that kind of like that slow Tarantino style that I love. But after Planet Terror, it felt like such a downer. But then when I watched Death Proof by itself, and it is extended, like I think it's a longer cut for both movies when you watch them on their own, that I feel like Death Proof is one of the most sorely underappreciated Tarantino movies. I actually like all of his movies though. Like Jackie Brown, like people hate Jackie Brown, and I know that it's not a Tarantino movie like the way the other ones are. Like that's a book adaptation, but I love Jackie Brown. Oh yeah, that last shot in Death Proof is a fucking classic. Chloe. The new Aliens film was okay. I'm hearing so many mixed reviews about the new Aliens film. Like, I've heard some people say that they struggled to finish it, and then I've heard other people say that it's like one of the best ones. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm going to have to put it later in my list of shit to see because I'm super backed up right now. I still need to finish Rick and Morty. I think I have like 3 or 4 more episodes to go. And then once I finish it, I'm going to be super butthurt because it's one of those things. You sit down and you can't not binge watch Rick and Morty. I actually never watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 either. Or the first one even. I don't know, that's like I've heard from a lot of people like Guardians of the Galaxy is the best Marvel movie. As for scary video games, like I said before, I've been streaming Friday the 13th, but I will say that the most scared video game has ever made me was the original Silent Hill. And part of that, once again, I was very young when I played it. But the part when you first go into the not the dream sequence when he gets mangled, but when you start going towards the school and everything turns, that I almost felt like I couldn't continue. But clearly I continued because I have an entire Silent Hill sleeve now, and that's one of my favorite games of all time. Rick and Morty. You know what? Like, Rick and Morty, I only started watching it a couple weeks ago, and for years and years, people were like, listen, you need to watch Rick and Morty. It's such a you show. And eventually I was going to an event with my friend Minaz. They had, at Barcade in Brooklyn, they had the Rick and Morty truck there. So I went to go see it, but I didn't want to go to an event about a show and know nothing about it. You know, just be like that kind of a poser. So, like, the week leading up, I'd fucking, binge watch the fuck out of it, and that show, like, got me hooked. Like, it's funny, but then it also gets into a lot of really, like, philosophical topics. Like, I think the best example of that, there's an episode where Rick, who, if you don't know the show, he's an inventor. He basically made an entire he made an entire universe within his car battery to power his battery for free. So the entire purpose of these people's lives, and the people inside his car battery, they're living long, fulfilling lives. Like hypothetically, like, say that we were those people. We could be those people in the car battery, and, you know, we live these lives. I'm streaming here, you guys are watching me, then, you know, you go to work, you have goals you're working towards, relationships, family, all that shit exists just to power Rick's car battery. And there's people who also figured that out and did it inside their universe. And a character winds up committing suicide, and it makes you think, like, it doesn't matter if you have that kind of a purpose if something is all for to power a car battery. You know, it deals with those kinds of philosophical issues while also being just completely fucking hilarious. Let's see, Fatal Frame, that's a good one too. And I never finished that game either. I played a demo, and I think I borrowed the first one from my friend. That's another creepy horror game though. Really creepy. Oh yeah, good point, Thaki. I should shield my gaming channel. I did it at the beginning of the stream, but I haven't done it since. I do have a new gaming channel. I split my gaming content off from this kind of content. The link to the gaming channel, if you're interested in it, is in the description of this video. Should be, like, right close to the top. But I figured a lot of people who are into this aren't necessarily into the gaming, so I would rather separate the two channels. It only takes me like a few minutes extra work anyway, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And I haven't watched Mr. Pickles. Is it good? I'm actually familiar with it because last year, my band Jinx, we were on Metal Fest, and Adult Swim was doing a promo for Mr. Pickle, so our management had us, like, take a picture with the whole thing and post it on social media. And I saw, like, a dog with a chainsaw and stuff, but I haven't actually watched the show. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, that was also a really good comedy horror, which is a hard thing to do, I feel. A lot of comedy horrors, they try too hard to err on the side of being like, oh, we know all these horror movie tropes, so we're going to just do them extremely hard. And they didn't do that. It was just, they did do that to some extent, but it wasn't the only place that the movie derived its humor from, so it was a genuinely funny movie. In the same way, even though Cabin in the Woods wasn't a comedy, I feel like it also dealt with those horror movie tropes in a way that wasn't as cliche as, like... Did you guys like Feast? Because I felt that way about Feast, where it was playing to the tropes too much. It was being too meta. And I feel that way about a lot of horror movies from that time period. Alright, Benji's asking... Oh, Isaac, Haunting Ground is good too. Yeah. Haunting Ground was that was the game that was kind of like a Tecmo's. It was related to something like a Tecmo's Deception or something like that, right? Or a Clock Tower. I love Clock Tower. I actually streamed at the beginning of this channel, Night Scissors, which was or Night Cry rather, which was a spiritual successor to Clock Tower. Yeah. Benji, I have to ask, what are your thoughts on remakes and reboots? Honestly, I'm not as opposed to them as most people are, because if you really look at the history of film, people always say, "Oh, this is like," and they act like it's a new thing, but so much of the classic films, they're all adaptations to begin with. A lot of them came from either books or things that were stage plays. So even within that, it's not necessarily like everything used to be super original, now it's not. I think it was actually Alfred Hitchcock who started the trend of having a totally original screenplay for a movie. So if you really look at where he falls in it, it's the idea of having original screenplays. That is the newer idea, and I do love those. I would like to see more production companies taking risks on unique ideas rather than, doing the same old shit. But that comes down to crowdfunding these days, I guess. And yes, I have seen Martyrs. And I fucking love Martyrs. Did the remake come out? Because I know that they were making an American version of Martyrs. But that Martyrs was great, because that was not one of those things where it was good on a horror movie level, but it also dealt with really interesting philosophical concepts. But I also feel like in the American version that they might have kind of shifted away from those concepts, because they're very vague at the end. And Thagi, take care, dog. Go check out Thagi's channel, by the way. He's one of those guys who has like a lot of animated videos, and he talks about social issues and things like that on his channel. It's worth checking out. Alright. Shakespeare... Oh, yeah. Yeah, the remake isn't nothing especially new. And I guess the American version is out, because Mr. Shadow's saying it was terrible, which it doesn't surprise me. I really do love, European horror movies, though. I mean, Italian horror movies were the shit through the 70s and the 80s. And then the French in the early 2000s, they kind of picked up the ball with stuff like Martyrs. What was the one with the pregnant woman? Inside, I think. I think that's what it was called. There's Frontiers. They had a name for that too, like the French New Wave of Horror. Oh, Bits of Real Panthers in here, yeah. They're drank on though. Yeah, Thagi's he does have that fucking style of having the cartoon character be your guy. He's not like as simple as like, oh, fucking feminists, am I right? But there's a lot of guys like that have the cartoon avatar guy. Oh, damn. As far as I'm concerned, Martyrs has no fucking remake. Watch Count Jacula's video on that. You get to see him and Guru super pissed. I haven't watched Count Jacula's video, but I'm probably going to check that out because I love Count Jacula. The last time I streamed with people was with Count Jacula. Like, that guy, he has way more stamina for this than I do. Like, he'll go for like 6-8 hours on 12 a.m. on a Sunday. Like, the last one of these I did, I was here for like an hour, and I was like, my voice was fucking cooked, and I was like, I gotta go. And sometimes he does those things totally on himself, like this. This is, Isaac is asking, it's, German Weihenstephan Festbeards. I think it's one of their new ones. I've never had this one before. Oh my god, yes, Mr. Shadow, the body horror films of the 80s and 90s. Basically all the Cronenberg movies, like The Brood and Scanners and stuff like that. Which actually, that's something that gets referenced in Rick and Morty. There's an episode where people get all like fucked up and mutated, and they call it getting Cronenberged. That's another thing about Rick and Morty. Like, it has that. It's kind of like The Simpsons in that if you don't get the cultural references, a lot of the jokes are just going to go over your head. But at the same time, it's funny enough that you don't have to need to know the cultural references. Yeah, Jack is a beast. And it's not just that he goes for 5 hours or more; it's that he stays interesting for 5 hours or more, which is it's hard to stay interesting for like 10 minutes. Well, that's cool. A lot of you guys like seem to have like met me through Jack's stream. Jack, and he also does a lot of work with Josh the Horror Guru, also a good channel to watch. Especially like clearly like that we've gotten into such a long conversation about horror movies. I'm guessing that a lot of you guys are horror movie fans, so definitely Count Dracula is worth checking out, and the Horror Guru is worth checking out. Am I a fan of the Dragon Age series? I played the first one, and the thing about that game is it took me really long to get used to the battle system, and by the end of the game I was loving it, but then I never continued on with the series. Yeah, I need to check out Jack's streams again, like, lately. Like, I haven't been around on Sundays when he does it, or rather my schedule for work has been like so inconsistent where some nights I'll be like getting up at like super early in the morning, be going to bed at like dumb times, or I'll be like up overnight. Like tonight I'm probably not going to go to bed till like 6, so it would be good to see one of those streams tonight. Oh, yeah. That actually just reminded me of like what I was thinking of before we went off on the horror movie tangent. It was the one other thing from the Covfefe thing that I thought was actually really interesting. And what reminded me of it was that some black guy posted it. I'm not being racist, that's his name. Derek. I'm sure some of you guys watch him. He's a very popular YouTuber. But he posted this thing from the Covfefe thing that, like, obviously it's like making a joke out of those crazy conspiracy things. But, I tested to make sure this isn't total bullshit, and it works, and it's such a weird fucking coincidence. So basically, you know, we got the tweet, despite the constant negative press, Covfefe. Now, the autists of fucking 4chan, I'm assuming, like, they're sitting down and breaking down the Covfefe code, and they went to the periodic table, so you have CO 27, V 23, Fifi 26, and 26. You know, the periodic table numbers. So if you type the number you get from that into Google, you wind up with a link about green toads. Green toads as a, you know, Pepe the Frog. So, like, people think it's like Trump secretly shouting out Pepe. And what made me think about that, actually, was I didn't realize this. I would hate to step on toes. I'm not that I'm stepping on his toes, he's much bigger than I am, but you know, I saw that he was streaming like just as I was like getting started with this stream, so I'm like, fuck. He's actually streaming with Anthony Fantano. I don't know if they're still going right now, but I saw that, I'm like, fuck, I don't know if he planned his stream for tonight or would have done it another night. The Slut Pit has titties and Shrimp Tuesday as well. I missed that. I know that Jack streams on Sunday. I didn't know that he streamed on Tuesday. The Witch. I have not seen The Witch yet. But every time I hear it mentioned, I heard The Witch was a really good movie. But I did watch The Woman, which is what I think of whenever I hear someone mention The Witch, and I fucking love that movie. Lucky McKee, I think, is one of the most underrated horror directors. He also made May, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. I think I saw actually, what's his name? This dude, I was reading his horror reviews for a while, Freddy in Space. He was talking about how, like, all these horror movies have, Blu-rays released, but no, they never made a Blu-ray of May, for whatever reason. And it's one of those friggin' a modern classic. I will say that May is a modern classic horror movie. Like, I'll put it up there like that. Oh god, was Bill Nye trolling his fans all along? You know what? I don't even know what to say about the Bill Nye situation. I didn't watch his new show, but I saw that weird gender sing along that he made, and it was the most cringy thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Because it felt, you know what it reminded me of? I'm sure some of you guys watch South Park. The song itself reminded me of the "Getting Gay with Kids" thing, but it felt like I don't even know how to say it. It felt like one of those things that the edutainment uh, it it tried to reach kids. Or it felt like a thing that's trying to reach kids in a way that doesn't really understand kids, even though it's a show that's built towards adults. I guess that's what made it extra cringy. It's that you're taking like the sexual content and you're framing it in a way that it's like something you make for kids, but it's targeted at adults in a way that is like painfully unfunny. And once again, I saw the there was a meme going around of Bill Nye contradicting himself, saying that there are only two genders on his old show, and that turned out to be total bullshit. But people, it's like I said before, people don't really care about being correct or believing in things. They just want to be on their team. They just want to play the team politics, and it is what it is. Bill Nye. And I still find it hard to hate Bill Nye. Like, it upsets me that he's gone down this path because I feel like he was one of the stronger voices of actual good science, that even though like people will be like, oh well, he's just an engineer or whatever, it's there. As much as the pro science movements in this country have been littered with ridiculousness with stuff like that, it's very important. It's absolutely important because we've gotten into a situation now where conspiracy theories, even the most ridiculous ones, the most scientifically illiterate theories, they gain so much traction so easily because the mainstream media has destroyed so much of its trust, and people are kind of actively rejecting things like Bill Nye and science and I'm like kind of like I'm struggling to formulate the thought, but we need to have people who are good pro science voices to push forward important issues. And I think Michio Kaku, yes, I am a fan of Michio Kaku. Although honestly, I'm not going to say that like I'm an encyclopedic I'm an encyclopedic fan of Michio Kaku, but I have watched some things that he's done. He actually I think he teaches at Hunter College in the city where I live, but I I've actually been listening to a lot of old episodes of Opie and Anthony recently, and he's been on a few of them, like talking science stuff with Opie and Anthony. It's pretty fucking funny. Yo, Beekman's World was fucking awesome. That what's his face? It was sad to find out the guy that played the rat Lester, he died apparently a few years ago. But yeah, Beekman's World was awesome. I think Beekman now, like, he plays a lot of Russian villains in TV shows still. Uh, is Yeah, I think Chloe put it well. It's sad that science has been politicized, since some sides have decided that unpleasant results are wrong because they are politically inconvenient. That's a really good way of putting it. Like, I think climate change, and this might be a controversial opinion at this point, which is kind of strange to me. It is a thing, but at the same time, we need to do something about it. And I think it's a problem that will handle itself in some ways economically, because like I was saying, solar power needs to become viable. Most of the pollution in the world, like we can all recycle at home and whatnot. It's not really going to do much because most of the output that's causing climate change, it's industrial. And it's not even enough for just America or just one country to do something about it. Like, this needs to be a global coalition. And actually, I heard today that Trump pulled out of an agreement, the Paris Climate Agreement or whatever the fuck it's called, which I don't know the specifics of that agreement, so I can't really comment on that specific move. But it sounds like a step back, because I said for a long time that if every country isn't on board with making steps towards climate change, it's not worth it, because then we're just fucking ourselves. But if we can get everybody on board, then we should. And that means especially China, countries like that. Let me see what we got here. People don't think the universe would be like it is, but it's you. What up, Chris Jenkins? Made any good Game Boys recently? Chris, like, he customizes Game Boys now. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's another good point too, Chloe. They don't know enough to effectively criticize or to discern from good or bad studies to make their point well. They just toss out the whole process of science. And that's kind of... It's actually... It relates to something that's been on my mind for a while, doing something with YouTube, where, you know, I'll make these videos on certain topics, and I'll watch videos. Like, I'll watch people who make videos like the ones that I make. There are certain YouTubers that I can watch, and like when I know there's a big news story happening, I can go to their channel and watch them say something about the story, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I know that they're gonna say what I already think. So I'm thinking, like, why am I watching this if I know what he's gonna say already? And on some level, it just feels good to have someone you trust tell you that you're right, but it's kind of sick in a way. But so much of YouTube is that kind of content. On some, like, that's the kind of content I make on this channel a lot, so I can't shit on it too much. But with science now, like Chloe was talking about, you can kind of, even though you can have a scientific consensus, like 95% of scientists, you have all these studies saying one thing, you'll always be able to find something that says the other. So it becomes a case of what you figure out the way you feel, and then you work backwards. And that's not how critical thinking should work. It's not how science works. Bill Burr put it well. He says you go online, you go to fucking I'mRight.com, and then you find out everything that backs up the point that you already thought. Let me get into this chat again. Gabe Smith, every part helps in the big picture. On some level, yeah. I mean, like, it does help something if we do, like, recycle and be mindful of how much we waste. Individual citizens aren't going to change the world anyway, but it would be good for us to do these things. But it all actually fixing the situation hinges on industry. The 97% was cherry-picked from one article. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think that might be from the climate change thing, but, how long did it take for science to be unanimous on cigarettes and cancer? And I'm not sure about that, and it's one of those things where I don't know for sure if it's kind of mythical speaking, but I think there was a thing where where cigarettes were being pushed as a healthy thing to do back in the day. A pizza. The problem is that everyone is so politically stubborn and unwilling to admit that maybe, just maybe, their opposition might have a slight point. They are so scared of being invalidated, so they go on the defensive. Exactly. I've said it many times, but people a lot of times are more concerned with playing team games in politics than actually finding solutions, working together to make the world an actually better place. Wait, what? Bits of Real Panther. Back in the 50s, cigarettes were considered healthy, and wearing shorts was considered a likely cause of cancer. I have never, ever heard about the wearing shorts things, but that is really fucking interesting. I'm going to have to look into that later. Yeah, Gabe puts it well. It's more of a battle of ego and winning than having an actual constructive conversations. There are such things as good arguments. Yeah, and that's one of the things that's it's a kind of interesting indictment of human nature that debate, you could have all the right facts and just be a bad debater, and you'll lose the debate. But because debate in and of itself is a skill, if you're a good debater, you can argue either side of the point and win the argument because you're just more of a master of the techniques and making the connections in your mind to kind of take apart someone's argument. And yeah, exactly, Chloe. There are a lot of approaches to solving climate change, but some approaches everyone needs to be pursuing for options to make a difference. And yeah, Cycle Bean. All I was saying was that we don't have time for the small opposition to climate change. As long as fossil fuel is profitable, there will be a couple of dissenting studies. And I think, as I was saying before, I really do think that the future is in solar. We have solar paint where you can paint a house and run your house off of paint and glass, but it comes down to having better battery technology, which I don't know how far off we are from that, but once it's there, why the fuck would you want fossil fuels when the sun is giving you unlimited fuel? The only thing I can see from that is established oil companies and whatnot fighting that process so they don't lose their standing in the market. And I'm sure for things like cars, maybe there'll probably still be a market for these things because for the higher end of racers, I imagine that the way they have their engine set up, it's so refined towards the fuels that they're just not going to have the technology to be as competitive with solar. But for a person that's just trying to fucking live, you don't really need that. Or when we get to that point, you won't really need it. Oh, I'm just reading the chat now. I think there was another topic on this video, if I'm not mistaken, that I kind of forgot what it was. The Covfefe. Oh god, the Fearless Girls dog statue. That was the next topic. I feel like I already went into the offensive humor thing, how if you choose to draw a line somewhere, you don't really get to criticize where other people draw their lines, but the Fearless Girl statue. The fucking Fearless Girl statue. Now, if you guys have seen this channel before, I should probably add it to the cards too. I made a video about the Fearless Girl statue because, for those of you who don't know, somebody erected a girl statue standing in front of the bull on Wall Street. Now, the bull is meant to represent. It was made during a decline in the stock market, and it was meant to represent U.S. economic power. So you have this girl standing there, and it was kind of pushed as, you know, we're standing up against the bull, and the bull represents the patriarchy now or some shit. But if you take it for what it originally was, then you just have this girl standing in the way of economic progress. But it goes even further than that, you know, she was standing on a thing that said, like, she matters. And it turned out that she, S-H-E, was an index fund from this one Wall Street company. So at the end of the day, the Fearless Girl statue was really just an advertisement. But now, a new artist, made a dog statue and had it pissing on the Fearless Girl. And that was a big controversial thing, you know, fragile masculinity and whatnot. But that dog statue looks so fucking bad. Like, obviously, if you've seen my video on the Fearless Girl statue, you can see that I can kind of get behind where this artist is coming from. But at the same time, dude, let me find a picture of this. I should have had it ready before the stream. Or actually, I might have one in my shit right here, but that statue, man, it looks like a turd with legs. It's just not well made. Or as Mr. Shadow said, it looks like a fucking chocolate candy wrapper. It's just not good. Not good at all. Look at this dog. What? You can kind of see the face over here, but what dog looks like this? Like, it literally looks like the tail is where the turd ended. And there's two scruffy little legs. Like, what breed of dog is this supposed to be? Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, the company that put the Fearless Girl statue was sued for fraud? I didn't hear about that, but that's interesting. If you can tell me in the comment, in the chat, what exactly like the angle was. Like, was it fraud because it was kind of an advertisement posing as not an advertisement? Because I know you're not supposed to do that. Even like if you have an Instagram funded post, you're supposed to say it's a sponsored post, or you can get sued. Because it was a kind of a stealth advertisement, but if you really looked at it, I feel like a legalese kind of thing might have said that, yeah, this, because they said the name of the index fund, it's not really posing as not an advertisement. Oh, like they were like just sued because of had fraudulent investments. Or they were investing fraudulently. Okay, yeah, that's what's going on there. Not because of the statue. Yeah. Think about that, Mr. Shadow. Like, if that guy can place that shitty-ass statue there, get all kinds of coverage, you got nothing to worry about your technical ability. Oh, it's one of those situations where I guess the message transcends the execution of the art. Oh my god, Count Dankula has a video about it. If you guys don't know about Count Dankula, and I'm gonna answer the question about this drink. It's I showed it before. It's a Weihenstephan Fest beer, oldest continuously running brewery in the world. But I think this is a new beer from them. I haven't seen it before. But Count Dankula, if you don't know Count Dankula, he lives in I think he lives in Scotland. It's either Scotland or Ireland. But he might be going to jail because he taught his pug to do a Nazi salute. I'm sure like many of you probably saw that video because that video went viral for a bit. But I guess either Ireland or Scotland, whichever country it is, it's a country where that sort of thing... Oh, it's Scotland. Thank you, Rob. It may be enough to put him away for a few months. So hopefully not, because that's so stupid to me. I'm pretty sure Count Dankula isn't an actual Nazi. I don't think his act of teaching his dog to do a Nazi salute, I don't think that inspired any actual violence against Jews or thing. It's just a stupid joke. But, you know, this is the world we live in. This is the world that hopefully eventually we'll see people like Kathy Griffin being like, you know what, this is fucking crazy. Like, why do we have to be so fucking phony about these fucking things? Yeah, you should. It's a real panther. That's a good one. Oh, Paul Joseph Watson. I didn't know that he covered that situation, but that's crazy. My voice is starting to go. I think we covered all the topics that I wanted to cover on this thing. If you guys have any questions you want me to talk about, I'll hang around for a bit. So yeah, let me know. Let me see the chat. It seems like the chat's very active tonight. So it'll be kind of fun to just talk to you guys. Like, we were on that horror movie tangent for a while. It was pretty cool. You guys, actually, I've been trying to find, because I'm very behind on horror movies. You guys know any, good horror movies from, like, the past 2-3 years? The last one that I think I watched that was amazing was It Follows. Like It Follows. If you don't know It Follows, it's basically like there's this curse where a girl follows you around. It's like a curse that kind of if it catches you, it kills you, but it walks at a very slow walking pace. But it'll follow you anywhere in the world, and if it's like the curse is like basically an STD. Like you have the curse, you fuck a person, they get the curse, and the curse leaves you alone until they die. Then it comes for you. So it's kind of like one person fucks another person, and you just can kind of like keep on once you're aware of it, you can just like spread it away from you like that. But I thought that was a really it was an inventive kind of monster, and it was just a well-made movie. And I think they're making another one where supposedly they try to trace the curse back as far as possible. Event Horizon. I actually I haven't seen Event Horizon in so long that I've been meaning to watch that again. Yo, Benji, if you could send me that list, that'd be great, because I am so far behind. Oh, Psycho Bean, you work in the film industry, right? Any tips for breaking in? I actually, alright, so most of what I do in the film industry, I work as an extra. Like, I've done stuff on Gotham, pretty much anything that shoots in New York City. But it's as an extra, which isn't that hard to do, because they need all kinds of people. They use me a lot for criminals, hipsters, things like that. But if you live in New York City or LA, there's a lot of work like that. I use the site called Casting Networks to kind of, every day you'll get emails that are postings of jobs that they want to cast this week. So you send them, you upload your picture. It's I forgot what the registration fee is. It's not that expensive, and then I pay monthly so we can have unlimited pictures and unlimited submissions. And then you see something that fits you. You apply to it, and they call you up and say, hey, you want to work this day? Anybody can do what I do when it comes to that. I'm seeing a lot of horror movie recommendations too. Late Phases, American Gods. You know what? I've been meaning to give American Gods a watch. I never read the book. But one of the most recent books that I read, not recent as in whatchamacallit, not recent as in released, but as in me having read it, was Anansi Boys, which is another similar Neil Gaiman book about gods in a modern-ish world. So I really enjoyed the fuck out of that book. So I'm hoping American Gods is good. I hope the show is good, and I hope the book is good, which I'm sure it is, because it's gotten so much praise. Late Phases. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of recommendations here. One on Netflix called Anti-Birth. Pregnancy-based horror. That might be good, actually. I really loved Rosemary's Baby. And Nancy Boys is a sequel. Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Damn, so I did that shit back. I just happened to grab a Nancy Boys randomly. Now I have to fucking read American Gods. Are the characters from Anansi Boys, at least, I know there's that scene where you see all the different gods, are they related to American Gods? You're Next. I haven't seen You're Next. I watched the first Ascent, and that was pretty good. Idle Hands, Blood the Last Vampire. Oh shit! Tag, a weird Japanese film by Sion Sono. I Suicide Club is one of my favorite movies. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I'm hyped that someone brought up Sion Sono in these comments. There's another one too. It was related to Suicide Club. I think it was shit. I forgot. It was it was in the same universe, but not necessarily from any of the characters. I watched that at work a few years ago. Shit, I might actually go watch Suicide Club now soon because of that. Yeah, so I was saying like Nancy was an African god. So are the American gods are they like for some reason like connected to an American in some kind of way? And yeah, I probably am gonna watch the next Star Wars movie. I didn't watch Rogue One, but I really liked number 7. Oh, Elfin Light is fucking amazing. I was actually on my Instagram. I've been posting some guitar covers. Would you see the Instagram? They have Todd Pikachu Sex. I've been doing some guitar covers of today. Well, I've been doing some guitar covers of anime songs. Today I did one from Inuyasha, but I was almost going to do one from Elfin Light. That's a really great horror anime. Oh, sick! That film is on Netflix. Oh, Train to Busan was also. I remember I saw a lot of people talking about that recently. I heard about it when it came out, but I didn't really watch it back then. Oh, dude, Suicide Club is incredible. It has like such a catchy J-pop soundtrack too. That kind of it contrasts highly with the atmosphere of the film, but it in that contrast it makes the film so much more interesting because it's one of those things where it's a horror movie, but it's a social critique about trend following in a way, stuff like that. I cannot recommend Club enough if you like horror. Yeah, I love Korean movies. Old Boy, that whole trilogy. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Lady Vengeance. Those are great movies. Anything by Park Chan Wook, I love. I think Thirst was his vampire movie. Jericho, I did not watch. Six String Samurai. What is it? Oh shit! It's fucking Watch Me Say Stuff. Another dude you should follow. I think he had a really good video on the Covfefe thing yesterday. How did that work out for you? Oh my god, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I have not watched Get Out, and I definitely need to. They were actually playing it at Nighthawk, and I fucked up by not going there. There's this movie theater in Brooklyn, Nighthawk Cinema, where they'll play a lot of horror movies, and it's a movie theater where it's like a restaurant, bar, and grill too. So you can like watch a movie, get a beer, get dinner, and it'll be movies that are out now, and sometimes they'll play old school horror movies too. Like they had yeah, it was they had a night where it was Cannibal Holocaust, and they had another night where it was Cannibal Ferox on the big screen, which is awesome. Oh, what up, Antonio? Yeah, I finished all the topics I wanted to talk about, and now we went into another horror movie sidetrack. Because I didn't realize this. A lot of the people who watch me are big horror movie fans, as am I. So now we're getting into it. Yeah, I know. I I fucked up by not watching Get Out. Okay, watch me say stuff. I definitely recommend that you guys check out his channel. He's like a very charismatic, funny guy. But his video for about the Covfefe thing was at a certain point it was the top result on Google if you looked up what is Covfefe. But like you know how those things go, they kind of go up and down. Um, oh, 30 days bits of Real Panther. You're talking about 30 Days of Night. That was that was based on a comic book, I believe, and a really good fucking movie as well. Battle Angel, Split. I always confuse Split with Splice, which Splice I feel was wow, my voice is getting fried. That sucks. Splice is super underrated. It's one of those. It's like a body horror, like biological kind of thing, but it also deals with some like philosophical issues, and it's just on a horror basis. It's also really good. Benji, you want an awesome restaurant here in Melbourne, Australia? We've got this place called Dracula's that has live theater performances going on where they interact with the patrons. That actually sounds fucking awesome. Alright, Split. Alright, what is Split about? Because I've been hearing that a lot when people recommend movies to me. Unbreakable. Oh wait, I'm trying to scroll up inside my OBS thing. Split. Was that the M. Night Shyamalan one that's related to Unbreakable? Because I saw Unbreakable. I loved fucking Unbreakable. Unbreakable is like the only M. Night Shyamalan movie that I'm super into. And The Mist. A couple of people are bringing up The Mist, and I fucking love The Mist. It's one of the few movies, I think, that is better than the book. Because that ending, it's just... The ending of The Mist is just so fucking tragic in the movie, at least. In the book, they're just kind of like, yeah, so we left and we're going to keep on going and see where the road takes us. And Stephen King kind of dropped the ball on that ending in his own work. Yeah, I thought The Mist was a great movie. They're actually making a TV series on it. I don't know what to expect from that, but I think it's going to be something where it's not going to necessarily follow the books. It's just going to take place in that world, in that situation. Which, if you're going to make a TV series about, that might be the smart way to go. Slither, I have not seen Slither. Wait, oh, Elvis is declared king, but he dies. The movie follows Jeffrey Falcon in the role of Buddy Holly as traveling to Vegas to claim the throne. It's super dumb but great. I love dumb horror movies. Deadshot, if you dab, I'm subscribing. Does that count? It was like an unenthusiastic dab, but I did it. Oh damn, Stephen King admitted that the Mist movie was better. That's awesome. Cause like I know he's kind of hesitant to do things like that. Like he had to go and make his own version of fucking The Shining. I don't know if you guys ever saw Stephen King's version of The Shining. It was a 2-part made-for-TV movie, and it wasn't terrible, but it was not a fucking classic movie like The Shining we all know with fucking Jack Nicholson. Fuck yeah, Deadshot, thank you. Antonio's been on my stream since like day one. Okay, Six String Samurai, that's the alright, and Stranger Things was incredible. Like, what I loved about Stranger Things, it was a good show on its own, but then it made so many tasteful allusions to older 80s films, 80s horror movies. It had that soundtrack, that whatchamacallit, that retro wave kind of soundtrack, which I fucking love, and it does so much to enhance the atmosphere of that show. Yo, exactly. Like, how is fucking Stephen King's made-for-TV movie gonna compete with Kubrick? Like, what are you doing, Stephen King? Fucking stay in your lane. Frozen. Frozen sounds familiar, and I'm not thinking of the fucking Disney movie. But I haven't watched that one either. Splinter. Oh, practical effects. Yes, that's like a big point for me for horror movies. I'm not a fan of the CG in most cases. Generally when you can see it. Like, the good CG is when you don't even know it's there. Like, they add a little emphasis on the background, fill out a city a little more, but when they have monsters that are totally CG, or they have gore that's totally CG, and it gets on some Roger Rabbit shit. But actual practical movie effects, man, like, I wish that would in general come back as a trend. Like, I think Mad Max had the modern Mad Max used a lot of practical effects. Oh, sick. Benji's gonna send me his playlist of horror movies. And Dead Space, I played the first Dead Space game actually like kind of recently when it was PS Plus had it as a free game for a bit, so I downloaded it. And it was fun. I liked it. Oh man, Killer Condom. This is a Swiss movie set in the US about a cop investigating dicks being eaten off in a brothel. That sounds 100% my speed right now. It makes me think of Teeth, which if you guys haven't seen Teeth, it's another like silly, awesome horror movie about dicks getting bitten off. Let me see. The Void. I have not seen The Void, but it's if it's a good practical special effects movie, I want to check it out. Like the last in like the peak era of practical special effects in horror movies, I think nothing really topped Hellraiser 2. Hellraiser, everything looked so good in Hellraiser 2. Yeah, the Demogorgon is a good monster. It's very Silent Hill-esque. That whole show has a very Silent Hill-esque theme with the alternate world that's going on right underneath the surface of the world that you're in at the moment. I definitely enjoyed that about it. I can't wait for the new season of Stranger Things. Antonio, what's everyone playing right now? I've been playing Friday the 13th. I might even like play some. Like I said, my voice is getting a little cooked, but later tonight I might go on my gaming channel, which is linked in the description, and stream some Friday the 13th. I'll probably gonna like grab something to drink, something to eat after the stream, but I might jump right back on that channel. Rubber, yes. Oh my god, Rubber was such a stupid movie, but I fucking loved it. I fucking loved Rubber, like everything about it. Like it was a movie that. It was a satire of horror movies, and it had an amazing soundtrack. I think actually it's one of those things where the director made the soundtrack, Mr. Oizo. Oizo, French for bird. But Rubber was a great movie. The Turbo Kid, Friday the 13th, and Prey. Prey is in like that Native American shooting game. The Fly. Oh my god, The Fly. Yeah, that's one of those body horror movies. Actually, that one's also made by Cronenberg. Brenda the Fly. Yeah, there was actually, now that I'm thinking about these body horror movies, if you guys remember the 90s version of The Outer Limits, there is one episode of that show that freaked me out so much. It was this guy who got sick, but then he found a way to make his immune system perfect, where he would never get sick, never get diseases. But then as the immune system thing, it continued to get stronger and stronger. It would basically, like, you would touch his skin and get hurt, kind of like, in a way, kind of like Rogue. So it ruined like all his marriage, everything, and just, he had a perfect immune system, but it ruined his life. And he had like these crazy like veins all over the place. It was a freaky fucking episode. I gotta look that one up, because that, of all the episodes of The Outer Limits, which is another horror anthology if you're not aware of it, that is the one throughout all the iterations of that show that stuck with me through the years. And then I think at some point he kills himself, but then the wife at the end, let me not even spoil it. Let me not even spoil it, in case you guys managed to find it. John Boy from the Waltons was in that one. Damn, like that's an obscure bit of trivia for you to know. Then not just the episode, but who was in it? Ginger Snaps. I watched the first Ginger Snaps. I didn't watch the second Ginger Snaps. The Cat Lady. If I like Silent Hill, I'm gonna have to check out The Cat Lady. What is that? Oh, I didn't know The Ruins was a novel. I watched the movie at work, and I didn't hate it. It was not a fun movie, but it was an enjoyable 2 hours or so. 1.5 hours. Kept alive by his insurance company because it would be too expensive to die. I don't remember that one. Tyler, when I was a kid, I was traumatized by an episode of The Outer Limits involving worms that took over people's brains. That sounds amazing, and that actually kind of reminds me of Splatterhouse 3. One of the creepiest video game moments that I ever remember. Splatterhouse 3, I'm sure some of you guys know the Splatterhouse series. They were pretty much the original horror video game, but the third one had a time limit throughout the whole game where you could save your girlfriend in one stage or you couldn't. And if you took too long, like was infested with these boar worms that would turn her into a monster. And if you didn't do it in time, like they all used real people's images to kind of to show the cutscenes. And the image of Jennifer, if you take too long and she gets taken over by the boar worms, it's like one of the darkest scenes of that era of video games, and the image is just so fucking freaky. Let me actually pull that up. Bordello of Blood also. I won't, I'm looking up the thing, but Bordello Blood, I remember that. I didn't actually watch it. Although I remember back in the day, Angie Everhart, she played like that redhead vampire, and like that was, in that period of the 90s, she was like the baddest redhead out there. Boarworm Splatterhouse 3. Alright. Alright, I got it. It's, now I'm like looking at it, it's like the picture itself isn't that freaky, but I guess it's just kind of the thing when it's like that emotional moments of a horror movie where, you know, like your wife or your family member, they turn into a zombie and there's nothing you can do anymore. Deformed by the boarworm, even Rick couldn't recognize her now. She's changed forever. And that doesn't end the game. You just keep on going. You just keep on going. Oh, damn, it was that bad? Fucking Bordello of Blood. Even with Angie Everhart, I couldn't make myself watch it. Tales from the Hood. You know what? I haven't watched that one, but then I saw, like, is that the one with, like the little, like, black kids or whatever the hell? Like, I saw memes about that one for a bit. Actually, I think they were Donald Trump memes with, like, Tales from the Hood or some shit like that. Oh, alright. Oh, the Tales from the Crypt movies. Those were... I used to love the show. I think there was one where, like, Whoopi Goldberg beheads a dude, and that like, for some reason, bothered the fuck out of me. Like, they had, like, the HBO show had a lot of weird guest stars. I think Dennis Miller was on an episode. There was, I think he was on an episode with Ghost Hunters or whatnot, and there's a part when there's poltergeists, and there's one scene, I think it was the Dennis Miller episode of Tales from the Crypt. There's just, he goes into a room with a bathtub, and, the bathtub, like, all of a sudden has, like, a bloody dead body in it that comes at him. Like, that part stuck with me. Whoopi Goldberg beheading somebody stuck with me. But then from the 70s Tales from the Crypt movie, the scene with the fucking razor blades and the blind people, I think it's been a really long time since I watched it, but I remember there being, like, there's, like, a narrow pathway with razor blades, and they have blinded people walk through it, and they're just walking through, like, cutting themselves up. I don't remember what the context for that was, but that scene stuck with me. Oh yeah, The Amazing Atheist. I haven't been watching his videos recently. I kind of hate that he changed his lighting setup, because he used to have this really cool lighting setup that reminded me a lot of Suspiria. The Tales from the Crypt cartoon. I remember that shit. That used to be on ABC. Like, that, I used to look forward to that every week. I think it came on like 10 o'clock, and I used to be allowed, when I was a kid, one soda a day, and I always time my soda on Saturdays to coincide with Tales from the Crypt for some reason. Ed Bakley Jr., yeah. I think I heard about them, that they want to make Tales from the Crypt again, too. That would be fucking sweet. A documentary called Boogeymen with rare classic iconic horror movies. That actually sounds Like, just like a bunch of shinfo, I guess. Like, that seems pretty interesting to me, believe it or not. Actually, one of my favorite series is actually, like, it's kind of basic as fuck, but Nightmare on Elm Street. And I really love the Never Sleep Again documentary. Yeah, the blind. Let me. I gotta look this up now to make sure, like, I'm explaining it right. The blind people walking with the razor blades. Tales. Blind people tales from the crypt. That was so fucking freaky, man. Uh, Alright, it's about. Wait, I think this is an episode I'm looking at, but there's definitely one in the actual film. It might be the same story, because I think they were literally all taken from the comics. Yes. Alright, Blind Alleys. Tales from the Crypt, number 46, February. It's from the comics, but it's called Blind Alleys. Major William Rogers, the new incompetent director of a home for the blind, making up mostly of elderly and middle-aged men, makes drastic financial cuts, reducing heat and rationing food for the residents, while he lives in luxury with his dog Shane, a German Shepherd. When he ignores complaints and a man dies due to the cold, the blind residents, led by the stone-faced George Carter, exact an equally cruel revenge. After Carter and his group subdue the staff, they lure and trap Major Rogers, as well as his dog, in two separate rooms in the basement. The blind men then begin constructing a in the basement, a maze of narrow corridors, some of them lined with razor blades. They starve the Major's dog, then place the Major in the maze's center and turn off the lights. As the Major attempts to escape, cutting himself and bleeding, the inmates release the starving dog. After completing the final tale, the Crypt Keeper reveals that he was not warning them of what would happen. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess it doesn't give the spoilers here, but I'm assuming what happens is he cuts himself on the razors and the dog eats him. Oh, Cube. That was another classic, man. Like that. All right. Cube was it was such a cool concept and a good movie, and it had some of the most hilarious bad acting in it too. Like I still remember this one fucking line from the movie where like there's like a big, I don't know if he was like a big black dude or a big Latino dude, but he's getting into it with one of the other people trapped in the cube, and he's like sticking your nose up other people's assholes, sniffing their business. Like that line and his delivery of that line has stuck with me for years and years and years, decades now. Sniffing their business. I'm not sure which actors it was, but I definitely remember the sniffing their business line. Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. I didn't see that one either, but I guess that's kind of like it might be a bit of a trope though, where like just like the mistreatment of people who are kind of defenseless and they exact their revenge. The autistic math guy. I don't remember that one. Hood of Horrors. I don't know that. I think that's one that I might confuse with like Tales from the Hood at a certain time, but I haven't seen either of those. The Circle. It's one of those that I haven't seen any of these. The Circle, like to pretend. Oh, The Circle's that new movie about the girl who like joins that company, and then they're in every aspect of her life, right? That's the one. Because it looked like a pretty interesting movie. Actually, now that I think about it, because what's making me think about it was that I saw those trailers together. I really wanted to watch the Belko Experiment, but I never got around to it because I fucking obviously I got like a Battle Royale poster over here. Battle Royale is one of my favorite movies of all time, and as soon as that trailer it hits with Verdi's Requiem, which is a theme for Battle Royale, and then it's a Battle Royale type movie, so I know that the directors, whoever made that movie, they know what's going on. It's all totally deliberate. Oh, the autistic math guy in the cube. Verapane enjoyed Belko. It's like Belko Experiment is one of those movies I'm not gonna go into that expecting like Citizen Kane or like to have my life changed with new fucking revelations and shit. But it looked like it would be an enjoyable action horror movie with like a bit of dark humor. Goosebumps. Oh yeah, that what I liked about the original Goosebumps series too. I had all those books, so I had I knew the stories already. So I was like, yeah, it's like I could finally like see these enacted, which actually makes me think. Last night, I saw some fucking meme about Scholastic book orders, and it made me go on eBay and try to find those old Scholastic book orders from the 90s. And I couldn't. It bothered me because I felt like that's the kind of thing that eBay should have, Scholastic book orders. But, you know, if not for that, I would have never seen Goosebumps or any of that shit. Or Scary Stories. I definitely got Scary Stories from a Scholastic book order. They had Scholastic and they had Troll, but none of those were on eBay. Oh man. So yeah, guys, I'm starting to get my voice is like starting to get a little fried. But I had fun with this stream. It seems like you guys did too. You know, made some new friends, be in touch with each other, be in touch with me, and maybe I will go on and stream Friday the 13th on the gaming channel later. I'm not sure, but yeah, thanks guys. It was a fun night. Everybody get fucked.